Hey everyone, Pathetic Ivy here, and I don't exactly know how to break this news. The newest Garten of Banban game is actually pretty good. This isn't a joke. Garten of Banban 8 Anti-Devil is an actually competent video game, a game I had an overall positive experience with. It does have a few pretty clear issues, which I'll get into as this video goes on, but Garten of Banban 8 has fixed almost everything that was holding Banban 7 and 0 back from me calling them good. I wanted to start with saying how honestly surprised I was with this. I had a feeling this game was going to be an improvement with how much time Banban 8 had been in development for, and was hoping for it to at least be a passable game. But this game was actually pretty decent. Is it some incredible must play? Absolutely not, but this game is actually a fairly fun experience. But without further ado, let's dive right into what makes this game such a major improvement from the rest of the series. The first thing you'll immediately notice when you start this game is the environmental design. Banban 8 follows in 7's footsteps with an almost gritty and sharp art direction, which is such a far cry from the environments of the earlier games, which were all bought assets lazily thrown together with no thought for making them look like they should exist in the same place. I'll get into this more thoroughly later in the video, but this game genuinely has a vibe and appearance that fits a game that labels itself as horror. Don't get me wrong, this should be a bare minimum, but compared to everything else in this series, this game actually looks really nice. The story picks up where Banban 7 left off. We have been imprisoned by Syringan after learning that Banban took the place of a different, more blue version of him, who we later learn is named Flumbo. In this time, Syringan has gone full-on dictator and established full control of the underground facilities. After an extremely ridiculous but kinda hype getaway orchestrated by Sir Dadadoo, we escape the prison and find ourselves in the office that Banban 0 ends on. We open the closet to find Flumbo, still hiding there after the end of 0, under the impression he is still playing a game of hide and seek. Banban arrives, all damaged and hurt from his last appearance in Banban 6, to tell Flumbo that it's time to go. Banban tells both the player and Flumbo that we should go find Syringan for help, but we are quickly separated from the group when Syringan makes a broadcast making an official bounty on our head. While Banban isn't necessarily hostile towards us, he makes it clear that we shouldn't be seen with them while we are a wanted person. And this is the part where I'll take a break from going through the story to talk more particularly about character writing in this game, which is absolutely the highlight here. Firstly, Flumbo is an extremely endearing character and serves as the protagonist for this game much more than the player themselves. Throughout the game, they begin to realize the true nature of what's going on and the role they were supposed to fulfill in the greater plans of the kindergarten before Banban wrongfully took that place. Speaking of Banban, his depiction in 0 as this calm and calculated manipulator is further shown in this game. He is very careful with the story he tells Flumbo when he finds him, as to not paint him as the villain because he needs Flumbo on his side for reasons we'll find out later. Finally, Syringan is an actually really good antagonist here. I'll talk about him more when the story is over and all his cards are shown, but he does genuinely feel like a powerful and oppressive force throughout the entire game. We get the idea that characters in the story genuinely fear him. The next thing I want to go into is that this game has some actually effective horror moments. Firstly, the atmosphere. The interior sections of this game are dark and dirty. This game has you actually pick up a flashlight, like a proper horror game style flashlight, and it forces you to walk through these disgusting and broken down environments that create a sense that something could still be lurking there and jump out at any moment. Then the chases in this game are actually quite tense and create a real feeling of dread in the player. You have to run away from some actually well designed characters that are all large and overpowering, and that actually creates a feeling of horror for fairly obvious reasons, but it works surprisingly well. All these chases also utilize the new shock remote that replaces the drone in this game, but I'll get into that more when I talk about the puzzles. The point I'm trying to make is that this game forces you to do some active thinking during the chases instead of just going on autopilot and running to the end. Especially the Vaza section, which isn't even really a chase and more of a fight, as you need to trick him into drinking electrified Givanium whenever he runs out of fuel. The last thing I wanted to mention to do with horror is a very standout moment near the start of the game in the hospital section, with this doctor who is completely obsessed with Nabnalina and is hopelessly trying to create a version of her. When it doesn't work, he violently stabs the failed experiment before declaring that he'll try again. Don't get me wrong, some lines of dialogue here are very much played for laughs, but there's this unique kind of horror that I was not expecting from a mascot horror game, especially Garten of Banban. You feel extremely uncomfortable and often even disgusted by this character so clearly off their hinges, and you worry for when one of their outbursts could be directed at you. Genuinely reminded me of the notes left by Stanley Coleman in Silent Hill 3. All in all, this game has some surprisingly effective and strong attempts at horror that did genuinely creep me out a handful of times. After travelling through these environments for a while, we find ourselves in Syringen's tower that oversees all of Sattingen, and Flumbo strapped to a surgical table. We quickly free him, but then Banban and Syringen come back in and try to convince Flumbo to stay with them, but he isn't having any of it. Flumbo and the player jump off the balcony into Zolphius's mouth, and then we wake up inside Zolphius and find ourselves taken in by an ancient tribe of Givanium creatures. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it later. During our little adventure here, we have to clear Flumbo's name from the crime of burning down a neighbouring village by catching Vaza, who actually caused the fire. And then Flumbo learns of his true origins as the original mascot of the kindergarten, which we've established previously. Then we speak to Stinger Flynn, who shows us a dream of a failed execution of some of the Banban cast. And then we wake up and the village is on fire, so we have to escape by climbing a ladder of Givanium citizens out of Zolphius's mouth. But before that, the leader gives us a tape that he says we should show to Banban just before declaring that a good leader goes down with his village. Okay, yeah, no, I need to stop and talk about just how ridiculous this game gets. Between this and the crazy action-packed opening of the game, Banban 8 does not shy away from the batshit insanity that it's known for. And I kinda love that. Unlike the previous entries, this game knows when to be intentionally a little silly goofy and when to try and take itself a little seriously as to not detract from the story moments or horror segments. This game genuinely got a good few chuckles out of me with some of its funny moments, like when we talk to the Bittergiggle voiced machine, which was absolutely made purely so that Ty Coker had something to do, that gives us the new shock remote as he gives us a medical evaluation. The machine picks up on things like head damage, referencing the numerous times we've been knocked out in what I can only assume are the handful of hours of in-universe time, or that our arm is in actual aching pain for carrying around this brick of a remote for 6 games straight. What can I say? This game just knows how to get a bit of a laugh out of me. Now, there's one last thing I've neglected talking about until this point, but I figure I need to get it out of the way before I go on to the finale of this game. The absolute biggest issue this game has is the puzzles. First thing, the new remote is a fine addition and absolutely an improvement over the drone, but it suffers from a bit of clunkiness as this remote needs to connect to signals of certain colors to use machines of the corresponding color, which is a fine idea until the game very quickly introduces mixing colors, and you can't control when you want to pick up a colored signal on its own or use that signal to mix with the signal you already have to create a new color. But that's just a small issue. The real issues arise with the puzzles themselves. The first puzzle has you zapping certain TVs with the right color of remote at the right time, which is a fine puzzle to introduce the new remote, but you have to do it 3 times. Then, when helping the creepy doctor create a Nabnalina, you have to do a simple but kind of fun tile puzzle 3 times over. Then there's a puzzle where you count the amount of music notes in a room that you have to do 2 times. Then an actually really fun puzzle where you have to identify which Banban characters are on screen as they dart quickly across the TV as it increases in difficulty. But then you have to repeat it again. And finally, a simple matching puzzle that you have to do 4 goddamn times. This game has some of the best puzzles in the series because they are very simple and won't unnecessarily stump you for ages but still require active thinking. But they are dragged down so heavily by the unnecessary repetition and creates an absurd level of tediousness to some parts of the game. Now we reach the end of the game. As we rise up an elevator and Flumbo makes a short remark about how unfairly he's been treated his whole life, some epic yet somber music begins to play, signaling that the finale is upon us. We find ourselves on a bridge above a large vat of Givanium with Syringan and Banban standing in front of us. Syringan reveals that the reason Flumbo was put on that surgical table was to take the pieces of him required to repair Banban from his current state. A final nail in the coffin for the character that has spent his entire life being robbed of everything by Banban. First his purpose, then his place in the Garten, and now they want parts of his body. Before much more can happen, we play the tape given to us inside Zolphius onto a big projector for Banban to see. And in this video, it is revealed that the reason Banban turns into his hellish form, the reason the humans tried to replace him with Flumbo, was caused by one of Syringan's experiments. Overcome with the realization, Banban demands an explanation. Syringan says that this was just one of the jobs that the higher-ups told him to do, and it was before Banban became his favorite experiment, painting Syringan in a very different light than before. His entire motive for this series has been trying to right a wrong that has spent the entirety of his life haunting him. The damage he did to the one thing in this world that he's ever cared for. But Banban doesn't see it this way. The phrase experiment sends him over the edge and turns him hellish, and in a fit of rage kills Syringan right then and there. Syringan making one final remark about how it's a shame he will never see the final stage of his favourite creation before losing all life within him. After that, Flumbo says to Banban that he isn't the perfect version of himself that Banban thinks he is, before giving in to all the anger and resentment towards Banban that he has harboured before turning into a hellish form of his own. The two fight it out before both falling into the vat of Givanium and showing no signs of struggle from inside the pool. As we walk away, we are cornered by a new character called Brashista, ending the game. Wow. I mean, just wow. This game is such a major improvement over any other game in the series that has come before. Garten of Banban 8 shows competency in creating horror sequences, a perfect balance of that and the humour that Banban has become known for, and some genuinely great and interesting character writing that has some gut-punching story moments. Don't get me wrong, this game is not fantastic, with some pretty clear flaws, and is realistically still not worth playing if you aren't already invested in Banban. But I am comfortable saying that Garten of Banban 8 Anti-Devil is a genuinely good video game, which is actually fun to experience. I am really excited to see where Banban 9 Last Ticket to the Abyss will go and improve the series even more. And on that note, I've been Pathetic Ivy, and I bid you farewell.